Bruchim Aboim B'Shem Hashem. Shem Irgun Shiurai Torah. Moses Boston. I'd like to welcome everyone to today's shir. I'd like to have the exclusive sponsoring a shir called Irgun Shiurai Torah 718-851-8651 and email ist@yeshivanet.com. Tonight we have the Kavod with us, Rabbi Elozer Boruch Bald. Menahel Irgun Shiurai Torah speak about the advice of Hagaon Horav Gershon Edelstein regarding Shidduchim and other stories regarding Shidduchim. We cover the corner Rabbi Bald for tonight's drasha.
Be'ezus Hashem Yisborach, I'll be speaking on the hardest and the most important topic of Shidduchim. Be'ezus Hashem. I spoke 4 times already here about Shidduchim, every time different things. And today I'll be speaking about what the advice the Rosh Hashiva, Maran Hagaon Horav Gershon Edelstein gave us, Rosh Hashiva's Panovich, and many, many stories. And a few hours ago, an email came in with a song from 2 chashuva older girls that gave out their feelings, emunah and betochen and hope for Shidduchim. And if there'll be time, I'll share it. We made a flyer, we gave it out. It's a tremendous emotional world, and I hope to get to it, Mit Hashem. This past Shabbos, I went to my mother's house and take a Shabbos like I do every week. And I tell her that I hope to give a shir about Shidduchim again this Wednesday. So she tells me, "Tu for deine Kinder." In other words, it's not enough a drasha. I'm not yoitzer with a drasha. Tu for deine Kinder. So somebody was standing there and told my mother, "No." In other words, I have also a younger sister, which is a tremendous great girl, and she's waiting for her bashert. So he says, "No," like tu for deine Kinder. So my mother picks up her hands. Boini shalolim, tu for deine Kinder. Do for your kids. Both are true. We all have to do for our kids as much as as possible, and we have to ask Hashem that Hashem should do for seine Kinder. Everybody knows that one of the biggest projects in Klal Yisrael that is lacking funds and lacking help is the of Shidduchim, and the Gedolim are very involved, but unfortunately it's not moving enough fast. Moshe Sternberg, when I was by him, he told me the biggest problem is that we're lacking thousands of Shadchanim to make Shidduchim. And the Rabbanim are taking it very seriously. In a way, when it comes to ask them shilas about it, I heard from Rav Beryl Taube, he's the son of Rabbi Zriel Taube Zatzal, that the Gabbe of the Ger Rebbe, Rabbi Yitzchak Broide, told him that the Ger Rebbe was saying when he had an operation a few years ago. He says those 2 days that he's in the recovery room, he said that he'll be very weak. Only that something that's burning for that minute, they should ask him. Other things they shouldn't ask him. So the Gabba asked the Ger Rebbe, what's called burning for that minute? He says something that's pikuach nefesh and shidduchim. This is how our Gdolim take it very seriously, but they're lacking the army power of Ishtadlis. So in the past year when I spoke about Ishtadlis, I got many different calls. One call I got from a Rav that tells me, I didn't see that Ishtadlis helped me because I did Ishtadlis a whole year in Boruch to find my child Shidduch. And by the end, after a whole year, he found the Shidduch in New Square. So it didn't go together. So I answered him, first of all, whatever he did a whole year wasn't a waste, it was a mitzvah. It's a mitzvah to marry your child, so the Shtadlis is a mitzvah. And this is also Bashet. We know the original Rebbe said, Vakris Yamsuf, everybody thought we might go back to Mitzrayim, we might go to the Midbar. Nobody dreamt of going into the Yamsuf. And that's what happened. And that's exactly what happened to Shidduch. You do Shtadlis here and there a whole year, and then suddenly the Shidduch comes from elsewhere. Second thing I told him, the Tzanzer Rebbe said that every Shatchin brings the thing close, and he gave each Shatchin money, because everything is announced in Shemaim. And sometimes, yes, I know a certain Shidduch that somebody visited a family every week to the house of a father and a mother. This person wants your son. He came and made a weekly visit for a year. I said, Tzaddik, I know that my friend. And after a year, he got the Shidduch. Hishtadlis does help. And I had another person, I asked him, what are you doing about your children? You have older children, Shidduchim. Listen, what can I do? Whatever, when it's going to come, it's going to come. I told him, what is Shtadlis? So he says, by Panosa, it says, only by Panosa. So I told him, you're wrong. Reb Chaim Kanevsky said, you got to do Shtadlis bis metreft. There's no gevul of Ishtadlis. And we find like that in the Gemara Nidid of Ayin. The Gemara says about many things, about richness, about Torah, about Bonim Schorim. The Gemara says, Ha beloy ha loy sagi. This, without this, is not enough. You have to do Ishtadlis and Tefillah. These two things. So this is a cloud that goes all over. Then I had a third person that came to me and told me, Shidduchim is a hecher azach. It's a gzuvugim and a shemayim. It's a psa, which is true. Maral speaks about it, that a shidduch can't last only if the Eibishter wants it should last. It's a very motzi isham motzi tov. It's only from Hashem. All zivugim, midrashim speak about it. The Gemara and Shlita speaks about it. But as I answered him, first of all the poskim, all the Gemaras, is Chazal about Ishtadlis. But even what you're saying that a zivig is like a nest, like a kriyas yamsev, and it's such a big thing. So it's not up to people. We find even by Nisim you got to do a Ishtadlis. Where do you find that? By Noach, when Noach made the teva, the Ramban asks, what did Noach make a teva to put in all the behemoths and chayas? Even if the teva would be 10 times as big as he made it, it wouldn't fit all the thousands of behemoths and chayas and ovis of the world. So what do you have to make a big teva for? It's all Nisim. Dr. Ramban in the second teretz, Va'oid osu oisa gedoyle lema'id benes, to make it smaller than es. Ki chein derech b'chol hanisim shebetoyre oi benevim. Lasois ma shebiyad odem lasos. The person has to do the maximum he could. V'kashi v'vasha yibnei shamayim, and rest is b'nei shamayim. So even if it's a nes, and kriyas yamsev zivil, kriyas yamsev as nisim, that doesn't take away the part that the person has to do the maximum possible that he can. And that's, even if you want to look at it as a nest, but you find in Chazal all over that Ishtadlis is a chiyuv on the person, and I spoke about it in the past, I'm not going to repeat the whole Mamar Chazal, but in short, the main sugis is Gemara Kedushin Daf Lamed, which everybody knows, that it says a father has to marry his son and his daughter, and in order to get his daughter married, he has to do Ishtadlis, he has to buy a nice clothing. So you see, you got to go out of your way to buy, the people should want to take off a shidduch, that's Ishtadlis. The Gemara Ksubis Nun Bey speaks about a person has to offer for his daughter a tenth of his nechasim from the dunya in order to get a shidduch. Even Yerusha, it's brought on of an Ezra Shulchan Aruch, Siman Kuf Yud Gimel. The Gemara Pesachim Memtes, Lo olam yimka adam kol ma sheyesh lo v'yaseh bita l'talmid chacham. A person should sell his whole nechasim, his house, his business, everything to get even a mile of a talmid chacham. The Peleoid says, for regular shidduch, for sure, sell everything. There's no gevul, it's doiris, it's generations, it's Klal Yisrael. And this is what Avram Avinu did. Avram Avinu gave it to Eliezer with Avram. He gave a star that is giving away all his money to Yitzchak in order to get the shidduch. So Hishtadlis is a thing that we know from Chazal and many more places. And the Chovos HaLevavos in Shar B'tochen Perigimel, even though he speaks about a lot about B'tochen, he's very strong in the madrig of B'tochen. But it's Mefurish, he writes there, V'chein Isha. Parnasa is just like Isha. That together Isha is the same as Parnasa. And he speaks about it, that you can't be Semech Hananes, you got to do Teva. So this is the fact that we know from Svarim HaKadoshim, the Inyan Achiv of Ishtadlis, a person has to do every day, not one time a week, every day the maximum he can Ishtadlis for himself and for his children. I heard from the son of the Menahel Rav in Boruch that he heard from his father, the Sambatel Rav, this is Reb Chaim Leib Katz, big Rav in Boruch, that his father heard B'Shem that Sanzer Rav, the following words. I'll say it first in Yiddish. When you become 20 years old, soll man klappen from tier to tier. When you become 20 years old, you should start banging from door to door to sehen, ob du da etwas shidduch, to see if there's something available for you. In other words, once you get that age of 20, which every person is different, but this is what he said, should embarrass himself to go door to door and to ask people or take something that you didn't want beforehand to take. Because, a person has to do tremendous ishtadlis. So this is the first sugya that everybody knows has to do ishtadlis, and this is what I'm not going to speak about tonight. The second sugya everybody knows about is tefillah. The makar that I just mentioned, the Gemara needed of ayin, ha b'loi ha. This without this is not enough. You got to do ishtadlis and tefillah. The famous Gemara brachas daf ches, that a person has to daven for a shidduch, azois yispalel kol chosa delecha le'eis mitzoi, something that you need to find, zu isha, a shidduch, you got to daven for it. We find our others like Doishim David. Yitzchak Avinu, Vayetze, Yitzchak Lesuach Basad, there's like the Balaturim, he davened for a shidduch. In Medrash Rabbah, Vayetze says that Yaakov Avinu was screaming, Mayan Yavi Ezri, Eze Kenegdai, I want my help on my shidduch. The Leah even though she was supposed to get Esav, they state in the Midrashim, she was supposed to get Esav for Shidduch, Rachel Yaakov, Leah Esav. So the Alchich, she with her tefillahs creamed everybody against Yaakov's wishes, against the mazel, what it was supposed to be, because she davened. And as I write in Medrash Seichel Tevet says, that not only her power of tefillah got the Shidduch of Yaakov, she got the Shidduch of Yaakov before Rachel, which Rachel was the real Zivig of Yaakov. That's how powerful tefillah is. It could be makdim a Shidduch. Same as the Gemara Moed Kot in Yudches. You have to make a Shidduch in Chol Hamoed or Tisha B'Av. Shem mekadmenu acha barachimim. The Rishonim write that you could daven and take away a Shidduch with tefillah. Sefer Chassidim Kuf Nun Vav writes, a person has to daven every single day for himself, for his children, and for his enikot, for Shidduchim. That's what it says in Sefer Chassidim, Rida Chassid. So these two things everybody knows, and I'm not going to speak about it. I want to go to the Eitzah of the Rosh Hashiva, Maran, Hagaon Horav Gershon Edelstein. I was by him. I was in video. I showed it last year by the dinner. But I'm going to elaborate on it and explain it, what he meant, because he spoke in 10 seconds. He packed it all in, 5 things. So he said something new, something different, something unique. I went to Melik Doilim, and he said something different. There are Chaim, there are Michal Yudah Lefkowitz, there are Steinman, which I mentioned in the past years. So I asked Rabbi Gershon Edelstein, what do you do in America about Shidduchim? So he spoke very bekitzer. Sedos chuyois. Sedos chuyois. In other words, a person has to look for schusim, extra schusim, more than what he does normally, to put an extra effort, and no matter what he does, to put an extra effort. Could be more Torah, could be more tefillah, could be more Amlach. First thing is, he was machadish a chiddush. Sedos chuyois. You could look for schusim, and bring out a shidduch with extra schusim. Now, tefillah is also schus. We have a makar to that. The Ritva writes, "Amat yitches shem yakdemena acha barachim." How could you daven and take away a shidduch? Zog the Ritva shaschus mavatal agzeira. These are the words. The schus could rip out agzeira. So you see, a schus is powerful, but the Ritva is talking about schus of tefillah. Could be any schusim. Then Rabbi Gershon added 5 things. All these 5 things are ben odam lachaveiroi, but he said it in 10 seconds, and I wrote it down, and I'll explain them. That there's certain schusim that work much stronger than others, but Adam L'Chaveiro is in a way more powerful than Adam L'Makim, even though they both work. He said the following: Lashon Hara is a schus. That means the Issa Lashon Hara not to speak Lashon Hara is a schus, and this people understand, right? People were Makabel Talon Shmi Lashon, and they were so Yeshuas of Shidduchim. Why is that? Because when a person talks here, they talk there upstairs in Shamayim about him bad too. But if he doesn't talk Lashon Hara, so they close all the bad malachim's mouths and they can't talk bad about him. That's one reason. Another reason is when you talk good about people in Shamayim, they talk good about you also, so you find your shidduch. But when you talk bad about people, you kill people shidduchim, then when Shamayim back, they kill your shidduchim too. So Chman al-Islam. So Rabbi Gershon Edelstein, first thing was Ishta Lashon Hara is aschus. The second thing, Undon lekavschus. Always look at people with good eye, give them the benefit of the doubt that is good. And the same idea. If you look at people with a good eye, then in Shamayim they'll also look at a good eye, and they'll make people like you. The Eibishter has to make a girl like a boy and a boy like a girl, and the families like each other. How does that happen? It's only when Shamayim. Hashem puts in there, you should see only the good of the Bechatarim. If you're down the kavschos, you also say down. That's the second thing Rabbi Gershon told me. The third thing, Nicht haben kein Kpeda of Kainem. Don't have any kpedas on anybody. No kpedas. 0 kpedas. Haben a kpedas a toys. It's a mistake. Alles ist doch min Hashemayim. Everything is min Hashemayim. Hashem made everything. So why Hashem sent him? Why are you having a kped of the person? What is this third thing more than before? You have to be done on the kavschus, but that's not enough. Sometimes the person is not makbid. No, it's fine. I'm moichel. Everything is good. But inside, in the heart, you have a kpeda. You're upset. Rip out in the heart from inside the kpedas, and that's a schus for shidduch. The fourth thing Rabbi Gershon said, Ein is makpid of mir, even someone that is upset at me when I did nothing wrong. Darf man him and you go make believe you did something wrong and ask him mechila. You did nothing, he did something wrong to you. He doesn't know how to ask mechila. But they can shalom, you be the one. Darf man him and afile is nish gerecht. Even if that person's 100% wrong and you're right, you be the one to mefais him. What's this Eitzah for Shidduchim? The pshat is, the Gemara says, Amavi al meidoisav, mavir al kol shav. If someone is marvel on his midas and is mavater and says, "Oh, I'm so sorry, you're 100% right," even though he's wrong, the moichel is averis. If the moichel is averis, you take all the mekachim, the shidduchim come. The fifth thing he said, "Besa merachem zayna fachav zayna." Be merachem, even if you don't deserve. Be merachem, have rachmanis. Where did he get this from? Kol merachem al abrias, merachem al avnei. So we have Rabbi Gershon came with a new chiddush, a new eitzah for shidduchim, looking for schuyes. And where do we find this in Chazal? I showed you Ritva, but the Iker Chazal we find, the Gemara studied of Beis, says by Zivik Sheni Lifi Ma'asov. Zivik Sheni, it depends on the person, how good he is, that's how you find the Zivik Sheni. But over there in the Gemara, even though Rashi learns it's Zivik Sheni, but the Meiri says there, every godel is called Zivik Sheni. They used to marry as a child, that's called Zivik Ishn. Basically, like the Meiri, every Shidduch today is called Lefi Ma'asov. And the Mekabalim, the Arizal, and the Zoya, and the Alshich, all right. Zivik Risha means when they announce in the Shemaim, Zivik Sheni means in this world, means all Shidduchim are Lefi Ma'asov. And even like Rashi, it means Zivik Sheni is only Lefi Ma'asov. Zivik Risha, but if you do Lefi Ma'asov, that definitely helps. Just like we said the Ritva, Tefillah helps. And I'll bring you a drashim to prove this point. There's a Moedik Medrash I found in Mishle Yutes. The Medrash Shoich HaTov Mishle writes that why was Avram and Yitzchak and Yaakov zeicher to the Shidduch? You know why? Just like Rabbi Gershon said, because they were Tmimim and Ovdei Hashem. They were Ehrliche Yidden. That's where they're zeicher to the Shidduch. This is the Rosh of the Medrash. The Pasuk of Mishle writes, Toiv Rosh Hoilich Betum. Better a poor person, but he goes Betmimis with Hashem than Me'ikish Svasa, someone that says lies. Vuksil, he's stupid. Why is he saying lies? He thinks he'll make money that way? Better poor, but be Tmimisdik. Zok the Medrash. Avram sheholech betumoi shenema hishalech lefonai veyei tamim. Go, Eibusha told Avram, go for me, do avodas Hashem for me. Veyei tamim, be b'shleimis and all the nisyonis, be strong. Zocher liknoi shemayim v'oretz. Avram got the sky and the earth. Shenema, Boruch Avram lekel elyon koine shemayim v'oretz. The little touch koine shemayim v'oretz means Hashem is the one that created shemayim v'oretz. The Rabbeinu Bechai says the Medrash learns Koine Shemayim V'oretz is going on Avram Avinu. Avram Avinu, because he went l'shalech lefana v'ayei tamim, he did avodas Hashem, and he was makabel the nisyonis b'shleimis b'tmimis. Therefore, he was Koine Shemayim V'oretz. What does it mean? Avram got Shemayim V'oretz. Look the Medrash. Shemayim shezochu bonav l'kabel ha-Torah shenitna min ha-Shemayim. He got from Shemayim the Torah. V'oretz lifrois v'lirbois ka'afara oretz. He got so many children as he count as the sand of the ground. Kol kach lama. Why did he get all this? B'shvil timim mishoyba, because he was a tamim navidus Hashem. Therefore, now hear these words: V'zochav v'nizdamna loy Sarah. Because Avram was betimimis, he was a Ehrliche Yid. That's why he got Sarah. V'chein Yitzchak. Shahalach b'toim, nizdamna loy Rivka. He was a Ehrliche Yid, he got Rivka. Yaakov shahalach b'tumoin, nizdamna loy Rachel v'Leah v'Bilha v'Zilpa. You see, if me open the Medrash, that they got the Shidduch because of Ehrliche Yid. Now, if we see this Medrash, it's a pillar plum, this Medrash, because it opens up a new understanding. The Medrash Rab and Pashas Vayetze writes, the Yaakov Avinu, when Eliphaz took away all his money, and he came to do a Shidduch, Zok the Pirish Eitz Yosef, he couldn't do a Shidduch. He has zero money to give a gift. He can't do anything for Shidduch. How can he make a Shidduch? So Yaakov Avinu gave up. And he said the kapitel, which is a Zgula for Shidduch. Now we know why. In the end of Shemoneh Esrei, they say this kapitel. And the Yashiv used to say it, but in the Shemoneh Esrei, a Shidduch, a Zgula for kids for Shidduchim. Shir l'malois esoina el horim. I look at the el horim. Ma'ayin of Yezri. Ezri is a Kenegdai, a Shidduch. He said Eliezer came to take Rivka. He brought money. He brought matanas. So they wanted him. Who's going to want me without any money? I'm 86 years old, 84, 86, to Pshatim. Who's going to want me? He was very broken of Yaakov Avinu. And then afterwards he said, Chazavama, what? I'm going to lose my betachan? I'm going to lose my betachan in Hashem? Chas v'shalom. This is the Medrash in Vayetze. Listen no, moivid sivri min broi ele ezi min Hashem oise shamayim v'aretz. What did Yaakov Avinu say here? Loitis Medrash and Shoich HaTov, he said dynamite. He cried, ezi min Hashem. Shilmas esoina el horam. Me'ayin avez. Where am I getting my help? Where am I? Then he said, ezi min Hashem. I'll get help from Hashem. Why? Oisir Shemayim V'Aretz. If you remember the other Medrash in Sheikh Tov, what does Shemayim V'Aretz mean? Hashem told Avraham Avinu, Koine Shemayim V'Aretz, Shemayim, he got the Torah from Shemayim, V'Aretz, and he promised Avraham Avinu that he'll have kids as mountains as the sand of the ground. So Yaakov Avinu said, I don't have anything, I can't do shtadlis, but Ezri Me'im Hashem, because Hashem told Avraham Avinu, Oisir Shemayim, well, my kids will get the Torah, V'Aretz, and there'll be as much as sand as the land. With that, Yaakov pulled the Yeshua from himself with this tefillah, and that's where there's a zgula, very big zgula, to say this capital by the end of Shemoneh Esrei. But you see from Medrash Sheikh Tov that Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov got the shidduch because they were Elech Yidin, like Rabbi Gershon said. So schusim, you get extra schusim. Similar says in Sefer Hasidim, Siman 527, Takchav Zayin. There was an old man, they got married very late, and he had a bunch of children and by him, and he was very tzibrochen. Because he told Rabbi Yehuda Chassid, I should be thinking about Olam Haba, how am I going to save myself from Gehenna? But my daigis, I'm busy with Parnasa, to find my kid Shidduchim, I don't know what to do. I have to find Shidduchim Parnasa, and he's an old man. How will I get to Olam Haba? So the Chacham answered, which is Rabbi Yehuda Chassid, what helps you daigis? Ukoshat doig, kol hayoyim v'chol halayla doig, yedaige klum me'ilois tidas lipcha? Does the daigis and tidas help you? So the Zokan answered, yeah, that's why I'm so upset, because it's a vicious cycle. I'm not doing for shidduch, I'm trying, and I'm for daigit. And he choshim al degosai, val tekanosi, vani zokim, v'yesh li yilodim, I have children, boys and girls, yilodim yilodim, kalas, and what happens after they go away to the world? Amalei achachim. What's the zgula? Tasik b'toyri kshesh rapnai. You need a shidduch. Learn Torah when you have time. V'tishpech nafshcha. Spill out your heart. V'sichach al fnei Hashem. V'kadosh Baruch Hu yachshav l'takanoscha. The Eibishter will help you. That everything will come to the place. And he brings a few psukim. One pasuk he brings. Kapitel Yutes. It says Torah Hashem temima meshivas nefesh. The Torah of Hashem is a meshiva of nefesh. Gives a person back his nefesh. Next kapitel Chav says Yan Hashem b'yom tzara, and it says Yimal Hashem kol mishalesecha. Learn to be the chassid. What's the smiches? That even if a person, if you learn Torah and do mitzvahs, you have to do shtadlis. But schusim of Torah and mitzvahs helps you that your shtadlis should work better. And that's what it says also Chavis Halvavos and Pe'egim and B'tachin. A person's do shtadlis and betachem, but a person's a elech yid, many times has to do lesser shtadlis because the Torah and the mitzvahs help the person to be mesugel for all his ashpoyas that he needs. And this is our klal gadol. So this is the first thing that Rabbi Gershon said, is those schuyos. There's schusim of anything, Torah, mitzvah, tefillah. But the second particularly schus he spoke about has been Odom Lachaverei, 5 things that he mentioned, like I mentioned before. I'll speak about it. Where's the Makor in Chazal? But Bakam Tzaddik Beis. Kol HaMavakeh Sherachem HaMachaveru V'Tzorach L'Yisadov V'Lenet Chila. If you try to do a chesed for your friend, you mispal of him, you help him, the person himself gets answered first. What's Pshat? Where do we learn it from? Avram Avinu. Avimelech took away Avram's wife, Sari Meinu, and Eibusha told him to give him back, but Avimelech couldn't have kids. Avram davened, and because Avimelech had kids, and Avram and Sarah also had kids because of that, because he was mispal about Chaveiro, if Avimelech, such a friend, who nenet chila. Frek the Maral, where do I have this limit of kol mispal about Chaveiro, nenet chila from Avram Avinu? Hashem promised Avram and Sarah to have children. What do I have to come on to davening for Avimelech, and because of that, Avram should have kids? He anyways had kids, Hashem promised him. This is a yisoid that Maral writes, an unbelievable yisoid. That even though Hashem promises, there has to be a way to get it. And the way to get it is by doing a chesed. So Hashem made this whole story of Avimelech, and Avram should have to daven for somebody that heard him, to do a chesed to Avimelech who heard Avram Avinu, and because of it, he should have his chus. The whole dova, afal gav sheroyu ubevada yovaid. Hashem said it's going to happen, to have kids. But tzorich sheyesibe sheyetze havtocha lapal. Kashem izborach misavav dova sheyachona shetetze havtocha lapal. And that's how he says, well, misavav dova zeh, the whole story that Avram should have to down for the melech in order to be able to answer it. Here we see, sometimes a person has a hardship or fight with his friend. Hashem makes it to see how you're going to go, how you're going to mechazik yourself to strengthen it, and be merachem on him, and with that get a lot of schusim. But miyuchat by shidduchim, this This is in general. But by Shidduchim we see it beferish in Avos HaGedoshim, beferish this thing, that all Shidduchim of our Avos happen through Chesed. They did a Chesed, they got the Shidduch. Where do we see it? Yitzchak Avinu brought Hagar back to his father Avram. Right then Rivka came. Rivka went and brought water to Eliezer, and that was the Shidduch, through Rivka's Chesed. Yaakov Avinu, Vayogav Yaakov Seven, they couldn't drink water, all the shepherds couldn't take water. Yaakov was strong, very strong, he pushed off the big stone, and then Rachel came, he wanted help, he did Chesed, and that was the Shidduch. Yisrai was the only one that said to save Moshe Rabbeinu. Paro wanted to kill Moshe Rabbeinu, he took the crown down from Paro. Yisrai said, no, he's a baby, he's a child, put a crown and fire, cholim, which one he'll choose, and your Moshe picked the fire. So Yisro said, you see, I'm right, he was a child, he doesn't understand. He didn't mean to take away the crown from Paro. So Yisro was the one that saved Moshe Rabbeinu's life. What happened later, through that chesed? Yisro's daughters came, they wanted, it says in Medrash, they wanted to throw her into the well, throw Yisro's daughters, Sepoiran, all the daughters, into the well. Moshe Rabbeinu came with Shim, he saved them, and then happened to Shidduch, Moshe saved his own Shidduch. Yisro did a chesed, he got back, and Moshe saved his daughters. Everything is through chesed. And our times also, you see, people do chesed, the mavata. I have a friend that someone had tinus him and he gave him $18,000. And next week his daughter got engaged. I lived through the pasha. You find chasadim that people do or mavata, and through that they get shidduchim and all the ashpos tevis. And now I want to say a few stories about this. How we see in our times that people do mavata or did chesed, and through that they got particularly shidduchim. 4 stories about shidduchim. Story number 1. I have a brother-in-law, his name is, the actual names. His name is Kaufman. He had triplets, 2 boys and a girl. The girl was the youngest. It came to Shidduchim, by the Chassidim, they're more makbid than by the Litvische. Usually you go in order. The boy said, let her go first, the Umavata. Okay, the girl got a Shidduch, she got married. The girl's mother-in-law, her name is Mrs. Pearl. She was the one that made this shidduch for the boy. If the boy wouldn't be vated, the shidduch wouldn't happen. Because the boy let his younger daughter go first, she made the shidduch. How did the shidduch happen? Someone called Mrs. Pearl, do me a favor, I have a son. Speak me the son for that girl. Someone asked her for a favor. She called to speak a shidduch for a boy for a girl. And the girl said, no, it's not enough learner for me. So Mrs. Pearl said, this boy that is not enough learner, I have mechatanim. They have 2 boys, twins, triplets. Maybe any of them is good for you. And the shidduch happened. So it comes out because the boy was mavate for the sister that's younger to get engaged first. Her mother made the shidduch for the boy. And this is a very common story that happens many times. Do chesed mavate, you get a shidduch faster. Story number 2. There's a lady, Mrs. Auerbach, who lives in Kiryat Tzanz in Natalia, in Israel. She came to America to do kibbutz al v'eim. Her mother had surgery in a hospital, and her father's an old man in New Square. And she was very gelungen, and she's very dedicated to her parents. And she was there the whole day with the mother in the hospital, and she helped out with the surgery. And then the father also wanted her company. So she was running between the father and the mother, and the brothers took over. She spent a lot of time. It came Shabbos, the mother came home, so she spent time with the father and the mother. She didn't know where to be Shabbos. By the father and the mother, Hashem Miranes, the mother came home. Baruch Hashem. Afterwards, she worked in Kibbutz Avim. She went to Israel. When she came to Israel, she lived in Netanya, but she had an einakel. There was going to be a Shalom Zach and a bris in Yerushalayim. So she came to Yerushalayim. She, like a grandmother, she made already the vachnach, the bris, everything. And it's a lot of work. She had a son, a bach who was of age. And this Shabbos of the Shabbat Shalom Zachar, the bach was supposed to go on a Ben Azmanim trip with his yeshiva. He wasn't obligated to go. It wasn't like a Shabbos that you have to go, but it was optional. But all Bachrim went. But his mother tells the boy, it's a simcha in the family, and I'm here myself doing the Shalom Zach with the Vachnach. It would be a favor if you could stay here, and easy if you could stay here to help out with the Shalom Zach and the Vachnach. Sure, it wasn't a chiyuv, so the boy stayed for the simcha. Sure enough, the boy lives in Netanya. But the simcha of the einakel was in Yerushalayim. So Sunday morning he stayed overnight Motzei Shabbos. Sunday morning he went to daven in Satmar. Satmar has a minion factory, a lot of minyanim. a few Satmars. When he's davening there, somebody sees this bacha. He's davening geschmack, a chassidish bacha. And he says, this is a good bacha. He looks at his tefillin beitel. He says, this is Moshe Auerbach. What? This is Moshe Auerbach? This shidduch was spoken for my daughter a long time ago. I didn't want the shidduch because I thought it's not enough Rabbonish, not enough Rebbish, or whatever. My says, but I see such a Hasidish, a good bacher, I want this bacher. He right called the Shatkin and became a chastan. So you see what happens? The mother did kibbud of aim in America. She went out of her way to her parents. So because of that, she came to Yerushalayim. Her son learned from her how to do kibbud of aim. And he stayed for Shabbos in Yerushalayim. He lives in Netanya. He stayed in Shabbos in Yerushalayim to help his mother kibbud aim to prepare the Shalom Zach and the Vachlach over Shabbos. Because of that, he stayed over Sunday morning. There was 5-6 minyanim there. He happened to bump in that minyan factory exactly where that person stood by down. He stood near him and he saw his towers bite and the shidduch happened. Why? Do kibbud of aim. You go out of your way. He was supposed to go away for Shabbos the bacher. He stayed to do kibbud of aim to help out. Hashem brought him his shidduch. Story number 3. Unbelievable story. This is a mind-boggling story, Rabbi say. This is a story that's a moifus of English Torah, b'siyat d'shmai. A Rav in Muncie, I called him up to go to Williamsburg and Puppa. We have right now, while we're talking, we have a shir, a Rav in Borough Park in Stalin, and we have a shir simultaneously, a Rav in Williamsburg every night. 3 Rabbanim come in each night. B'siyat d'shmai. And then people here all over the world. So this Rav in Muncie, I called a Choshev Rav. I don't want to say his name because I don't want the pratim should go out. I called him up to give a shir in Puppa Williamsburg, which I did in the past. He says, I want to tell you something. You have such a schus, not just of Botzas Torah, but I'll tell you the following story. So after he told me the story, I pushed him, so you better come to give a shir now. But this is the story. There was a person in Williamsburg, Ish B'chibit. You know what that means? That unfortunately, he had not easy midas nebuch, and he was megarish his wife when the kids were young, and the wife took away all the kids, and she raised the children without knowing who the father is, and didn't want to have a kesher with his father because it was nebuch, it's a brach on a person. We can't be done anybody, but it was not an easy person to deal with. But one of the children, a boy, when he got older, became a bacher. Someone told him who his father is, the real father is, and he found his father, and he got close to him. But once the bacher became avrech and got married, his wife didn't want to know from the boy's father, the young man's father. Why? Because he started mixing in everything in the family. He had no connection to his original wife and all the kids. But this bacher that got close to him, he started telling him everything, what he should do, what he shouldn't do. And he always tinus and tvias on him. For instance, he had a baby, so he says, why didn't you name after my mother? Why after her mother? You know, he mixed in everything. And also, why didn't you give me a kibbutz? Said the kedushin by the chasana yizish mechubet. So the wife didn't want to hear from him. So, and the husband got involved with shalom bayis problems because of it. So he had to cut off his father. For 20 years, he had no shaychus with his father. 20 years after the boy got very close to his father, cut off for 20 years. Said he got a psak from a Rav in Yisrael, and that's what happened. Kids said, this Rav in Muncie knows this ish mechubet. And the person spoke out his heart to him. So not only did my boy stop talking to me for 20 years, he embarrasses me. They say I'm not the roy for anything, and he hears back feedback from embarrassment. So this Rav in Muncie bothered him very much. Even though he didn't know the son, he picked up a phone and called him up. That I'm ready to help. If you were once back close to your father, maybe I could bring back the connection. He didn't want to hear. So the Rav explained to him, maybe you have to be separate, maybe you can't talk to your father, but mezalzel it's covered off with mevayjain, and people say bad things. We see in Shulchan Aruch, even if a father embarrasses a child, you're not allowed to do anything. Even if a father hits a child, you're not allowed to do anything. Even if a father or mother throw the money of the child in the ocean, you're not allowed to do anything. You're not allowed to be a your father. Bekitzi spoke to me, pressured him, nothing helped. After that, the Rav in Muncie got so hurt that the child doesn't care about anything about the father, and nobody should be approved. There are cases that unfortunately they have to have a das Torah of a real godel for this. This is a shvere shai, the kibbutz of emes chamuris sheba chamuris, and chamanos, some kids man their fathers when they're not supposed to. But everybody has to have their das Torah. But this I'm just saying it for the story purpose, not for the halacha l'maaseh. The Rav in Muncie tells this young man, You have children already in the 20s, high 20s, boys and girls. Not one of your children have a shidduch. Not one of them. Maybe something here. Maybe you're mavazi your father. If you make shalom, kibbud of aim, maybe it'll help you for schus. Nothing helped. He spoke to his wife. Nothing helped. They didn't have the koich to be mizgabe. They couldn't strengthen themselves. So the Rav gave up. This was in the winter. That's story number one. Story number two, the summer. Came the summer Irgun Shiurai Torah in Williamsburg and Pupa this time. I invited the Rav to speak. And we went over different topics, what he should speak. And he forgot about the whole story. That was 6 months before. He wanted to speak about a Hilchas Kibbud of Aim. So he gave a Shia and Pupa, Hilchas Kibbud of Aim. He spoke to the Soros, what it means a father and a mother, what they did for the person, when you were a child still, what they brought you up. And he spoke about it. After the drasha, a young man comes up to the Rav on the stage, there's a stage there, and to talk to him, and tell him, Shalom Aleichem. Do you know who I am? The young man asks the Rav, do you know who I am? So the Rav says from Muncie, I don't know who you are, no. Oh, you remember 6 months ago you called me and asked me over the phone about Kibbud Avei, my father, they spoke to me in the winter. Yeah, I remember. This is me. And I live on the other side of Williamsburg. But I saw plastered signs all over the poles in Williamsburg that you're speaking and about Kibbud Avei. I usually don't come here. I took the effort to come out and hear this year. And you made a tremendous rosham on me. I changed my whole feeling, my whole understanding, and I want to work it out. Sit down with me now. He sat down with the Rav after the shir for a half hour, and he made a plan that he should talk to his father, but the Rav told him, don't get too close. You have to mechavet it, but don't get too close. You don't have problems again. And he worked it out, and through that, already came the shalom bias of the young man and his father. And understandably itself, the Rav couldn't speak to the father of the young man because the father was a brach and a man. He couldn't talk to him. But he got him to speak to his son once in a month. He made some setup that he shouldn't be a bezoyin for his father. So for 20 years, the young man did not talk to his father. And through the shir of Irgun Shiurai Torah, Kibbud Avei in Williamsburg, the son started talking to his father. Sure enough, the Rav Muncie tells me, between 4 to 6 weeks after this shalom between the son and the father, his son became a chassan. In a few months later, his daughter became a chassan. And that year, he made 2 chassanas of a boy and a girl in the high 20s. This is a kibbud of him. This is midas mavate chesed that a person knows. This is what Horav Gershon Edelstein says. Schuyois. Don't lekav schus. Not lashon hara. Don't be makpid. Be mavater. Be marachem. It's ben hashamayim. I'm saying this as a story that's a mitzvah gdoyle to learn how to be mavater, which is a siyat shemai for shidduchim. But like I mentioned before, it's a very sensitive topic. Everybody has to ask Rabbi Muvik when it comes to such a shaila, how to deal with this. Story number 4, which is a personal story. It began over 25 years ago. My wife was waiting for a simcha. And then she needed a specialist at a good doctor in Manhattan. Then it cost her $12,000. They didn't take insurance. And usually I ran the shiurim, but I wasn't the person that could afford $12,000 besides just, the house and the expenses of the house. So what I would do is I would take from my gemach money, and pay it out slowly. Once, I was by the daily shiurim, still in the shul, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And my wife calls me, and we have to go after mincha, 2:15, go to Manhattan, I have an appointment. The secretary calls my wife, during the shir, and she says, do not come to the doctor. You didn't pay anything up yet the last few months. If you don't bring $2,000, don't come. What am I going to do now? I can't find the gemach 2:15 in the afternoon. They're open once a week. Where am I going to get the money? And I felt lost. I was thinking, I felt lost. I said, what am I supposed to do? I have to go to the doctor, a specialist. I have to go, and I have no money to get the money. It was a tzaddik of a yid did mine, and he needs a refuah shalem. I'll say his name, we should all have him in mind. Maybe should have Pinchas David ben Yehudis should have a refuah shalem b'tzorch shachal Yisrael v'neiman Amen. So this yid of Pinchas, I think it was me and my brother. I went up to him to ask him for a loan. Could he do me a favor? He a person that had money. I asked him, do me a favor. I mamish an emergency. I have no idea. I knew him from the shiurim. He came to the shiurim. He says, sure. He gave me a check, a loan, $2,000. And Mama, he ratted with the situation. It was a total nefashis. I had to go with this doctor, and it was a total nefashis. And I got close to him many different ways, and he was a tzaddik, and by the end, I wanted to pay him, didn't want to take back the money. Mama, she gave me $2,000. This is a chesed. Then, chesed number 2 is that I, Baruch Hashem, have vacation in the city, and then everybody go to the country, and whenever there's vacation for everybody, we work a lot harder, ben azmanim, summer. So I, Baruch Hashem, don't go to the country. I have my country over here. Everybody going to make country here. But I had small kidduch. He felt mad for them. They don't go to the country. So he tells me, come up to my bungalow, and you'll take a small kid. They'll swim. Come up. So he says, I can't go. I'm busy. But once in the summer, I go to visit my Bachman camp. Then, so 25 years ago. So then I'll try to make a visit also. And that's what we did. We came in the summer once a Sunday. We passed by. We came to this bungalow. My wife, me, and the kids, the small children. And they went swimming. And they had a good time. And that was this chesed sheni that he did for us. By the pool, my wife had a few small kids. So his daughter came to the pool to help out with the kids, with the girls, and dressed them afterwards, undressed them, and his daughter. And she such a tzaddik is this daughter. She spent hours in the heat taking care of the babies. Mama couldn't take care of all the kids in the heat and outside. She took care of them. She gave them to eat and to drink. And chesed shenkamayu. So my wife came home afterwards from the trip. She called up her mother and she told her what happened during the day. You know, we went here, we went there. And she told this girl's unbelievable chesed that she did. The kids are my shviga says, she's such a balas chesed, this girl. Nobody asked her. She's helping for hours with all the kids. Maybe she's good for my son, for my brother-in-law. But she can't speak the shidduch herself, so she got somebody else to speak it, and they didn't know that it's coming from our family. They thought it's coming from somebody else. And the shidduch was spoken, and sure enough, the girl is my sister-in-law, and she got married to my brother-in-law, and a whole family of kids. What's the story of here? This Rav Pinchas did me a chesed with $2,000 when I was in desperate need. And I meant it was a loan. But then he didn't want to take it back. He wanted to have the mitzvah b'shleimus. And mamash was lost. And then he did a chesed with my other kids. And the girl did a chesed. Don't worry, I did back a lot of chasadim from him too. Meshach the years, different chasadim, private chasadim. But you know what the biggest chesed Hashem helped? That because of his chesed, his own daughter got a shidduch. How would it happen? Because he brought our family to the country to see the children, and the children, she was helping with the children. We didn't know that family at all. We got to know them, and that's how the shidduch happened, that she's my sister-in-law. Because of the chasadim that he and she did. Get back. See, chesed brings, but it's not finished. My father-in-law made 2 or 3 of his shidduchim besides this brother-in-law. That means he did a chesed with money, a chesed to bring him, but 3 of his kids got shidduchim through my father-in-law. He was shatkin, my mother-in-law. So you see, what chesed you do, you get back. These are the 4 stories I mentioned now to show the point of Rabbi Gershon, being mavate, doing chesed more than the koiches helps for shidduchim. But I want to go back to the first point of Rabbi Gershon, that the schus of Shmir Zaloshan is so powerful that it takes away all the mekatigim and the shamayim. They shouldn't speak bad about you, so you can get shidduchim. But if you talk bad of other people's shidduchim, Rachmana litzlan is the worst thing. I know a lot of people that are struggling with the kids with shidduchim, and they usually don't give good information. They killed other people's shidduchim, so unfortunately they got it back. The opposite of chesed they did. There's a Sefer Hasidim I once mentioned, that Yehuda had the whole story with Tamuz. His shidduch was such a messed up shidduch. You know why? Because he was the one responsible for Yosef to go to Mitzrayim and get married late by 30, because Yehuda was in charge. Sefer Hasidim writes it. So you messed up Yosef, you're going to be messed up with Tamar. That's what Sefer Hasidim. Pachat Pradim. And fakir the opposite. Me the toiv merube. If someone does good and helps shidduchim, my shven shviga made a lot of shidduchim when they were young, and all 12 kids got married easily. When you help with shidduchim, Hashem helps. In this week's Pasha, you see it. Pasha's Chukas. The story that the Yidden spoke bad against Moshe and against Hashem. There was the Nechoshim Asrafim. They went, they bit them, and they were crying, they were dying away. Hashem said, make them Nechash and Nechoshes. You know, like in Mamani's hospital, they have this form of a snake. It comes from Nechash and Nechoshes. A copper Nechosh. And they saw it, and they got healed. What happened? How did they get healed? So I want to say a whole shir over here about it. This is the point. They spoke against Moshe, and they were crying, they were sick, their foot was getting blown up, and they're dying in 3 hours from the snake bite. In 3 hours, they're dead. They came, they looked at the nurse. Moshe Rabbeinu, you're tzaddik. Hashem, you're tzaddik. You made the snake, you're healing me. Ooh, it's going better. Look, the foot is going down 3 inches. Hashem, you're tzaddik. Moshe, I'm not going to speak any bad. No Lashon Hara. You're tzaddik, you're tzaddik. Ooh, look, it's better. It's getting even better. Hashem, you're tzaddik. I thank you. No more bad, only positive. So the tikkun from Lashon Hara is speaking good. This is this week's parasha. And this we have to learn from our Gedolei Torah, how they are mamtik shidduchim. All our Gedolim, they weren't busy, I have to say, the emes. They were emes elachiden. They knew how to cover all the bad things and bring out the good of the person, and being a good salesperson on the shidduch. The Gemara Babasar Tezayin says on Iyov, V'leiv almona arn. Eve made almonas very happy. Why? Nobody wanted to take almona for shidduch. So you know what Eve did? How she says? He went around, this almona, my korev, my family. And Eve was a choshev, a person rich and choshev. And he spoke shidduchim. You take him, it's my mishpacha. This is Rashi. He was never family. He said a lie. The Chavetz Chaim on Yisrael says, yes, my mishpacha. Kol Yisrael is family. The Chavetz Chaim did it once too. The Heilige Chavetz Chaim. Because to save Yen and shidduchim, darf man tun, was man kennt tun. I heard from Rabbi Shai Perkowitz, from Mir Yeshiva, he told me 2 meisters neflois from Rabbi Chaim Shmulevitz. Rabbi Chaim Shmulevitz was a goyin oilam. But he was a goyin in verstehen wie zu reden mit Menschen euch. Goyin oilam, Rabbi Chaim Shmulevitz. And he was a picker, very smart person. There was one father that came to Yeshiva, and he passled every bacher. He was a big lamb. He passed every shidduch. No shidduchim were good enough for him. They went around, and the girl was getting older. He went from yeshiva to yeshiva. It's the gate nishka shidduchim. And they get nishka shidduchim. So they told him Chaim Shmulevitz about his father. He's trying to. He speaks to a Magachi in the yeshiva about a shidduch. But does he learn 18 hours a day? But his meat is how won't you musa? Their father was a little, that's a little cycle. But he was making people crazy. So Chaim Shmulevitz tells the mashgichim, tell the father to come to me. Shik him to me. Bring him here to me. I'll take care of him. Send him to me. So they bring the father to him. And the father says, yeah. They tell him, go speak to Chaim Shmulevitz. He knows the Bachram. He'll give you guidance. He comes to Chaim Shmulevitz. I heard information about this and this Bacha. I'm thinking about it, but I have this problem and this problem, this shaila, this shaila. He starts saying a whole list of shailas. Rabbi Chaim Shmulevitz made it short to the point. Wer sind ihr? Who are you? Wer sind ihr? Who are you? So the guy says, my name is Moshe Weishvos. Hey, wer sind ihr? Like, what are your credentials? You're a Sheshiva? Bist du Rav? Wer sind ihr? Wer sind ihr? Ich gebe ihn nicht weg. Ich gebe ihn nicht weg. I'm not giving him to you. I don't want him to take. You can't take this bacha. You can't take this bacha. As if Rabbi Chaim is in charge and the boss. Like, ich gebe ihn nicht weg. I'm not giving him away to you. So sure enough, when the father heard that Rabbi Chaim is not giving away the bacha, he ran after the Shat, I must have him. Rabbi Chaim doesn't last, but I must have him. When he says no, then he says yeah. And he got the bacha. Rabbi Chaim was a picker. Wer sind ihr? And he knocked him out right away. A second story I heard from Rabbi Chaim Shmulevitz, a goyin oilam. There was one to London, in the 50s, a big Talmud Chacham, and he came to speak to all the Bacham of the yeshiva to see if they're roy enough for his daughter. And he comes to the yeshiva, Rabbi Chaim Shmulevitz, tells him, not one Bacha is good enough for me. Not one Bacha. I forheard him. He doesn't realize he's 50, learning a whole life. He's expecting the 20-year-old to know as much as him. So he asked Rabbi Chaim. Rabbi Chaim says, I'll give you a good Bacha for you. So he gave him a Bacha Beinani. A regular Bacha, not a Psagrois. A good boy, but a Beinani. So he goes to speak to him a learning. He tells the Bacha, tell me over a shtickle Torah. I don't have. So he says, no, so I'll tell you a shtickle Torah. These guys going to say, I'll lom this a whole shtickle Torah. And the Bacha is a very honest boy. Ich weiß nicht, what the rest. I don't know what you're talking about. So he's trying to explain him again and again. The lom this up Chaim, the bisker, Eifeke. Ich weiß nicht, what the rest. The kids are nice. He goes back to the Yeshiva of Chaim Shmulevitz. Es taka gut the Bacha. Because he has the courage to tell me that he's not masking to what I say. And it's strong if you know, instead of telling the person that you don't know what you're talking about, you say, I don't understand what you're saying. So the father thought that the Bacha is telling him, ich weiß nicht what the rest. I don't know what you're saying. But really, he was telling him, he really meant it. I didn't know. The Maisi made the shidduch, and the Bacha Harvard dies, and the man became a Rosh Yeshiva. He was a Beinini then, but Reb Chaim understood what he needs. Man darf keine Mamtik sein. The Kosovo Rebbe, the Homalechtig Ganeden, he was mafking himself a klai, so he was just nifty. He's trying people to get to know what the person was. I heard from a Rav, it's a private story, but I'm just going to say the point. There was a bacha that didn't want to take a shidduch, a shidduch that was good for him. His family wanted, he didn't want, because in his head, he has to know min hashamayim that this is zivik. No, how are you going to go prove a boy that it's min hashamayim? He needs to feel that it's min hashamayim. So the Rav and Williamsburg called the Kosovo Rebbe. I'm sending you a customer. So the Kosovo Rebbe, he showed him in the kvittel why this is his shidduch with Kabbalah, and he made himself a ganze Baba. This is your shidduch, min hashamayim. I see it. Everything is a mafke sein verklai, so shidduchim. This was our gedolim. Rachmastrifke Rebbe is on lechtige gareden as soon as the yard coming up. He said over Meiser with his Rebbe, Rabbi Zalman Meltzer. Rabbi Zalman Meltzer was the father-in-law of Baron Kotler. He was a onov. He made the tables and chairs for the Bachem. He was an onov sheikh going on oil. Say Evan Ozel, whoever learns his forums, unbelievable. It was the following story. Going in Midas. Rabbi Zalman Meltzer, he was giving a shear, and one time a bacher during the shear, they never opened his mouth. Shvacha bacher. He raises his hand and asks a shaira in the Gemara. And he asked him, not a smart question, but Rabbi Zalman Meltzer made, so you mean to ask this, and you mean to ask that, this is a good kasha, and he made a whole matam of the kasha. A few minutes later, the bacher again raises his hand, again a kasha. And the same thing again, 3 times, again and again. And the bacher never asks it during the shir. It's the first time. And everybody's looking, why is the Rosh Hashiva, Rabbi Zalman Meltzer matamim from this question of the, some more is this bacher. Was macht die Goynis von der Scheile, von each Scheile? When he goes home, the Bochum are laughing what the Rosh Hashiva did today by the Shia. So Rosh Hashiva says, you know why I did what I did today? Because there were hundreds of Bochum, big oilam, but I saw in the corner one person standing there who never comes to the Shia. I thought maybe this thing, and I knew this Bochum never asks any Shailas by a Shia, never. So why is he asking a Shaila? Could be that the person standing there, and he wants to see this bacha, and he knew it, so he asked a shaila to show that he's a good bacha, even though he asked a maratz shaila. He wanted to show he's a good bacha. So I put this, during the shir, he's koching and learning, he puts these 2 goinas together, and that's what he wanted to make, that the bacha did ask a good kasha, he knows what he's talking about. He made him choshev. And what happened was, a few hours later, the shidduch happened. So the Achim Tifka was mafli the go'onis of his Rebbe, Rabbi Zalman Meltzer. Not only his go'onis to chap to put it together, but his good guy to speak good and make him good as Shomam Tabach for the shidduch. Now I have to say this: Rabbi Chaim Shmulevitz, with Rabbi Zalman Meltzer, with the Chofetz Chaim and all the gedolim, they were mamtik shidduchim. I have to say the emes. What's the pshat? Why do you have to say the emes? Does it really become emes? So let me tell you 3 things. Number 1 is today, we're at different times. I don't mean just today. Everything bothers a person. And any small thing you hear, you knock off the shidduch. But on yourself, on yourself, everything is great. And people have our expectations of what their children need. And although America, our children don't have shidduchim because of that. And therefore, because every small thing bothers the person that hears about a shidduch, or people speak Lashon Hara, we need hamtaka. We need a mamtik dedinim. And that's what the Gdolim do. You have to show how good it is. Bring out the good. So that's called emes. Number 1. Number 2, the Heilige Rishon said, why is zivugim like Kris Yamsuf and for people so painful? Because it is doiris of Klal Yisrael and Mashiach can come out from anybody. And therefore the Mekatchigim are fighting to try to break every shidduch. They'll put in your head all different excuses why not to want a shidduch. And therefore we need Gdoilim and Tzaddikim and Shatchanim to try to be mamtik the dinim because the Mekatchigim are fighting so much. Sometimes you don't want because it's taken up a shat. But most of the time the Mekatchigim are fighting to ruin the shidduchim. And we need people to help out, to Yeshuas to bring out, to be mamtik the dinim. A 3rd thing. This is schon a hechere Sach. We know Shatchum is Rosh Tevis, the Welt sagt, Sheker Doive Kesef Neutel. Rosh Tevis, he says lies, and he gets money. It's not an embarrassment, it's a compliment. Why? Because the Maharal writes in Soita that Zivug is not a derech teva. The Eibush has to put Yud Kei together, it's a ruchnistic thing. And the Oilam is the Oilam HaSheker. So now the older Besfarim idea for Shidduch, many Shidduchim come with Dreidlich, with Shkarim, with Dreidlich. The Lubavitcher Rebbe, yesterday was his yard site, on Melech Gared, and Schusar Galenu. He writes, I saw it in Sefer Imis Achaim, that why he asked this question, why many Shidduchim have to come with Shkarim? Why is that? Why can't I go straight? Because the Zivik is not Pateva. The Malachim, the Mazolas can't get involved. This world, it has to go through with Shluchim Behalten Heid. It breaks the Shidduch, Makalkal the Shidduch. Many Shidduchim don't make sense. But that's the Shidduch, it's Min HaShamayim. The Shoresh has the Vugim Melamala, Lamala, Min HaSeichel. You can't cover it up with Teva. So that's why sometimes has to go with Levushim and Levushim. Therefore, many Shidduchim have to come with Reidlich. I asked Rabbi Chaim Kanevsky about changing the age. He says you're not supposed to change the age. Say a lie age. Today it doesn't help anyways, because today you can find it from classmates. But today, Baruch Hashem, a lot of girls and boys are marrying with 5-year age gaps. Boys and girls. I have myself one daughter that's 5 years old and a son. You see it very common today, Baruch Hashem, always. So someone told the Reb Chaim that the Chazon Ish argues with him, and then he kept quiet. The Chazon Ish said you are allowed to say, if you is age, yeah, you're allowed to say. Because something that eventually they're not going to be makpid, you're allowed to say. It's not the ikin in the shidduch. So I told Reb Chaim Kanevsky I have an argument, a raya, that I'm right. That you're allowed to say something not true. Because Leah lied to Yaakov Avinu. Leah said that she's Rachel. She changed the whole person, not just the age, for shidduch. So Reb Chaim told me, Leah lied. Haman, Lavan was Arami. Lavan was the liar. In other words, Leah was forced to follow his footsteps. But the truth is, if you look at Medrash, it says differently. The Medrash writes that Yaakov Avinu had a tiny to Leah, and that's why he didn't like her first. He says, why did you fool me? You fooled me. So Leah didn't answer, it's my father's fault. Leah said, because you did the same thing to your father. Yaakov, you fooled Yitzchak with the brachas. I fooled you. I wanted you, so I fooled you. That's what it says in Medrash. So you see how much Mesiris Nefesh Leah had for Shidduch. Now again, you're not allowed to lie. And especially when it comes to medical things, it could be Kedusha toys, Ein, Even Ezer, Shulchan Aruch, similar Mates. Sometimes it could be the Samad al Dam Re'echa, Choshemish B'tuf Chavav. I'm talking about things that they have to be mamtik. I heard from Moshe Sternbuch a klal. He says every person has chesroinus. If b'diavad later there'll be maskim segate mit, it's mutter. But you need das. I'm telling you, you need a das Torah from a mumch in these inyanim. A person can't pass in such a shayt himself. But what do I mean to say? We have to learn how to say good, be a fagin and say good about shidduchim. I heard from Rabbi Elozer, the son of Rabbi Elozer. He told me that he married many kids already. One of his children that he married, he asked the mashgiach in the yeshiva, as magachir, what do you say about this bacher? So the magachir answered, he didn't keep with the shir. He's a good bacher, but he didn't hold my shir. He didn't come to my shir always on time. He missed days of the shurim. The magachir thought he has to say the emes. But Rabbi Elozer himself is a magachir. He gave it into him. He told him, I didn't ask you if you followed your system, if you deemed your system of your yeshiva. That's not what I asked you. You know, every yeshiva has a system. I didn't follow his system. I asked you if he's an El Chabach and if he learned them. Yeah, he's a masmid. So why you tell me he didn't come to your share, personal share? This is called Lashon Hara. This is a Avera. This is a infagina. And he made the shidduch. Today, many people, unfortunately, kill shidduchim, teachers, friends, rabbeim, even Rosh Yeshivas, and they don't chap. The real gedolim, they said the emes. The mamamtik shidduchim, to help shidduchim, the people she get married, and not like today, thousands of bnei Yisrael are sitting around without shidduchim. We have to learn from the gedolim to help out on shidduchim. I have more to say, but I have to cut short. We spoke about what Rabbi Gershon said, that we have to look for schusim, but this is not on the cheshbon of his shtadlis. His shtadlis, the Gemara Kedushin says you have to buy your daughter's clothing, or the Gemara Ksubis, you have to up to isum and a chasav, a tenth and a chasav to give away from the dunya. We don't find in Chazal that, to make a Shmir Saloshin group, and Chala group, and Sneeze group, even though it's true, it helps, and it's very important, because like we saw from the Medrashim, being a Elachid helps. But you have to be Teva shtadlis. Eliezer Eved Avram came with all the money from Avram Avinu or Shtar for Yitzchak for the shidduch. It doesn't say that he made for Zgula to find the shidduch a Shmir Saloshin group, and he didn't make a Chadusha Torah group, even though it helps. because you have to do everything. But Ishtadlus B'derech HaTeva, Hashem wants we should schwitz for Shidduchim, we should be moise nefesh. And if someone pushes away every shidduch that comes to him, this is the opposite of Ishtadlus. A person has to schwitz in a mitzvah from Tzara Agra, and this is the biggest mitzvah in Klal Yisrael. To put doiris, you have to horav in it. The Bava Shreb again, it's brought on Nitei Gavriel, he says that Reb Zusha, Mahanipoli, he said, avodas Hashem, you got to learn from a Ganav. Not to become lazy. A Ganav steals once, he misses, a second time he gambles, a third time, till he's successful. Avodas Hashem has to be the same. And Shidduchim, the Baba Shreb says the same. You got to try once and again and again. And if you want a good shidduch, you got to try even much harder. Because, like the Gemara says, it's Aveda, you got to, all the machzor of Vedosa, you got to look and run around. So with all the shtadlis, you got to do shtadlis and tefillah and schusim, b'rodin l'chavera, b'rodin l'mokim. Whatever you could do, you got to do to help for the thing of Shidduchim. I want to conclude with a story because this topic tonight was about Horav Gershon Edelstein with the schusim of doing chesed. This is a tremendous, unbelievable story. Because like I said, a person has to do everyday shtadlis, the maximum he can. A person has to daven every day, like I say, for Chassidim writes for his kids, for his eineklach, to have good shidduchim. But you have to find schusim like Horav Gershon Edelstein said. This story has a few parts. But some unbelievable hashgacha pratis of chesed that you do, that you get back. There's a Rosh Yeshiva at Yisrael who I'm very close with. I know him, the Rosh Yeshiva, but I don't want to say his name. He comes many times to America for chasanas of his Talmidim. And he has a son here. His name is Rabbi Ezra. This son helps him whenever he comes here to set everything up for him. So, 5 years ago this happened, the story. There was a chasan of a Talmud from that yeshiva in Yisrael. And he came before Shabbos HaGodel for the chasan of the Talmud. That's part one. Part two. One of the Talmidim of that yeshiva in Yisrael's name is Reb Simcha. He was chalashing to come back to America for Pesach, for Chodesh Nisan. His family is here in America, but he didn't have the money. He had him and his wife and 2 kids. He didn't have the money. But he had a sister in America, an older girl, 32 years old. Her name is Rachel. She made a lot of money, successful. She knew that her brother wants to come, this Simcha wants to come. So she made up, she'll pay for his ticket, his wife's ticket, and it's in the season, which is expensive, and the 2 children. Once Simcha came to America, and his Rosh Yeshiva came also to America for Chasana, and who's getting married? One of the Talmidim. He joined the Chasana too, because it was his friend. That's part 2. Part 3. The Purim before, 2 weeks before the Rosh Yeshiva came, the Purim before, in his house, in the Rosh Yeshiva's house, they were talking there was a Yosem Abach in the Yeshiva, that he's getting married, and he doesn't have a penny for the Chasana. What are we going to do with this Chasana, this Yosem? So on Purim, a different Bach from Yeshiva came, 28 years old. He was desperate for Shidduch. His name was Berish. Berish was a Gvi. He was an Alta Bacha. He made good Parnasa. He had a lot of money. And he heard the Yosem needs a Shidduch. He needs money for the Chasana. On Purim, he says, if till Chag HaShavuos, it's Purim till Shavuos, I become a Chasan, I, Berish, will pay $20,000 for the Chasana. Expensive Dosam Chasana. It's part 3. Part 4. Now we're in America. Rosh Yeshiva came to America to the Chasana. Simcha came to America because his sister Rachel sponsored his tickets, him and his wife and his kids' tickets, came to the Chasana because he's here. It's a Talmud's Chasana. And Rabbi Ezra, the son of the Rosh Yeshiva, also joined the Chasana because he lives in America. They're sitting by the Chasana, and Ezra says, Shalom Aleichem to Reb Simcha. Hi, Shalom Aleichem. What's doing here? He says, Baruch Hashem, I came for Yom Tov to America. So Ezra is talking schmoozing with him, and while he schmoozed, Ezra was a son of the Rosh Yeshiva and cared about the Yosem and Eretz Yisrael. He knew about this Yosem that needs money for the Chasana. And he knew about this deal that Berish promised that he'll give $20,000. If Berish becomes a Chasan, he'll give $20,000 for the Yosem Chasana. So Rabbi Ezra, the son of the Rosh Yeshiva, tells Simcha who came, maybe you have a good shidduch, a good idea for Berish. And like that, we'll do 2 things. We'll accomplish Beresh's shidduch, who's so desperate, he's 28 years old. And Berish promised he'll give $20,000 for the Yosem Chasana. So Rabbi Simcha is thinking, he says, yeah, I have a sister, 32, Rachel, who sponsored my tickets. And me and my wife, my kids, she's Balas Chesed, she makes some money, she's a great girl. She's 4 years older than him, fine. She's 32, he's 28, fine, we can make it to shidduch. She's a great girl, professional. But they started schmoozing. Does it make sense or not? So Ezra schmoozes with Simcha and asks Simcha, does your sister Rachel make sense for this berish from Etzisol to the Shidduch? And when they talk, they realize different type. It's not going to make sense. It's not going to work. Shine. Finish. Rabbi Elozer goes away and he chaps in his mind. Simcha described me as Sister Rachel. This is exactly what I want. How we described it. He described it for Berish, but this is exactly what I want. But Ezra didn't dream that's a good shidduch for him. Why? He didn't dare ask for the shidduch. Because Ezra's already a gorish 2 times. He's divorced twice. And he has already an older baka. This girl is such a successful girl to get a shidduch for a gorish twice. He didn't have the chutzpah even to speak about it. This rocha so mutzlach, how could it be? But after a while, he did his shtadlis. He took the courage. And he went to his friend. Serious nefesh, it wasn't easy for him. Simcha, I know it doesn't make sense, but maybe your sister, she's a great girl here, professional, good meter, but it's the same type as me, and I'm a gorish twice with a child. Maybe. They both didn't dream it's going to work. But Simcha went home, told his sister, by the way, I know it's not a shit, but just this is what happened. This is the whole story with Berish, this is what happened. And he was trying to help Berish, and he says, he's his type. You know what? She heard about it. She liked the idea because she heard his type and it makes sense for her. She went out with him and the shidduch happened. But Rachel tells Ezra, please do not tell my father and mother that you're gorish twice with a child, because even a gorish once, they would never want to hear from it. So Ezra says, I don't understand. How are you going to do it? You have to be honest with them. We'll deal with it later. But kids that became a chassan and kala, they're married already 5 years and have already 2 children right now. What happened in this story? What is the hashgacha? Let's not finish this story. What is the hashgacha of this story? Of the chesed from 2 sides. Rachel did a chesed with a brother to sponsor Simcha's tickets to come to America, him and his wife, and the 2 kids to come to America. Ezra, because he was by the chassan, Ezra went over to him, who lives in America, the son of the Rosh Hashiva, and asked Simcha, could you help Berish find a shidduch, 28 years old, to find him a shidduch, successful businessman, find him a shidduch. And at the same time, Berish promised on Purim that he'll give $20,000 to marry off the chassan. So Ezra tried to do chesed with Berish and with the Yosim, and Rachel did a chesed with her brother, and sure enough, these 2 came together, these 2 chasadim. Rachel did a chesed with her brother Simcha to bring him to America. Ezra wanted to do a chesed with Berish and with the Yosim. That's how the shidduch came. But the story doesn't finish, it gets better. Listen to this. I spoke to him yesterday, this Rabbi Ezra, and I told him, I don't understand. This is a chiddush. A gorish twice with a child to get a top girl that makes money and meet is successful, and the parents they don't want to hear it. It doesn't make sense. There has to be some bigger source, not just that you spoke a shidduch and try to help Berish, and there has to be something more than that. He didn't answer first. But I saw that there's something there. I pushed him. I told him, I need to tell us her album. People should hear it. So he told me the story, what happened. A year beforehand, Shabbos HaGodl, a year beforehand, the Rosh Hashiva, Ezra's father, was here also in America for a different simcha. And he stayed in Shabbos HaGodl, and something happened no good. The Rosh Hashiva was here, his whole family was here, and he lives in Yerushalayim, Ezra's Torah, and there was a gneva in his house. Somebody gamvad emptied out all the zilba, from a whole year, and from Pesach, the beches, the leichter, nothing. Everything they took out. And Ezra, the son of the Shiva, heard him so much that this is what happened Shabbos HaGodl. He tells his father, how are you going to make the storim? You have guests, you have a lot of beches. How are you going to make a seder without beches? So the Rosh Hashiva said, don't worry about the beches, I'll take less. But how's mommy going to send lecht leichter? Her yomtiv, without leichter. So Ezra, the Bocha says, you know what, the Gorish says, I have $4,000 saved up because he wanted to go for Pesach to Yisrael to his family. And it cost him the tickets plus his expenses for going, for staying, for coming, for buying, $4,000. He saves it the whole year for the Pesach. Why does he do it? Because everybody knows, and he told me this, for a Gorish to be with other families, it's very, very, very painful. Because everybody has wife and kids and all that. So he always makes sure to run home to his parents, not to have bizyonis. He was mavata on his $4,000 to go to his parents when it's for Pesach. He went to a second-hand place, 18th Avenue, and he bought bechers and leichte for the whole $4,000. He sent it back with his father to the Yeshiva, plus with 2 other friends. 3 people together carried it for Pesach. And he said, I'll stay here instead. And he had a miserable Pesach. He told me he had a very hard Pesach. This was his Mesias Nefesh for his father and mother. He's a very close friend to Rabbi Biderman, Melech Biderman. He helped him start his shir. So he told after Pesach the story to Melech Biderman. Melech Biderman loves good stories. So Melech Biderman says, I'm waiting to hear what moifus is going to come out of this Shabbos HaGodel nest that you made, that you gave up your $4,000. You had such a miserable Pesach, and all your parents should have the silver and the gold. So I asked him what happened. Melech thought it's coming in a month. So he didn't write it in his forum. It's not there. But a year later, exactly Shabbos HaGodel, a year later, last year Shabbos HaGodel, he did the chesed for his parents to give up his Pesach for his parents. Together next year, Shabbos HaGodel, he did the chasadim to try to help Berish and the Yosem for the Shidduch. And Rachel helped her brother. So Arum with chesed to help with the ticket. And Ezra took the courage, which is the one important thing, to do a shtadlus Mesias Nefesh for himself, not to be embarrassed. Yes, he says he's a gorish with two times plus a child, but he asked for a girl. He tried his best. Hashem is not limited. Hashem can help everybody. It didn't make sense. Doesn't have to do. Still Hashem helped him. If you do chesed, you do shtadlus, you daven, you do chesed, Hashem is going to help you. And everybody, no matter who's watching this, never give up hope. The boys today, 40, 50, 60, they did great Shidduchim. Whatever happened in the past happened. Today, start. Work on Shidduchim. With eschatches, without cholera. And Hashem should help. I want to still sing a song. Because a few hours before the shir, I can't skip this because a few hours before the shir, I got an email from 2 older singles, Tzidkonios, who are going through it in the 30s in the Pasha. And they put in a lot of effort to put a song in B'tochen, to be mechazik other people like them in this Pasha. And they sent it to me a few hours ago to sing it, to say it. So I gave out copies, and I want to sing it the best I can. And I think if people listen to it all over the world, will be able to get emails from our office. These are 2 older girls, singles, who gave out their betochen to mechazik others. It should be a schus for them. They should find the shidduch bekarv. Amen. Everybody should win on. These 2 girls that made the poem, the singing, maybe should help them among against Kosher to find the shidduch bekarv. And the schus of all this, the shtadlis, and not be embarrassed. Do more than the koiches. Hashem will help everybody to have a happiness and enjoy the shidduchim. Bismillah zoyre zan to oidi shama ba'ori de b'chutz Yishalayim kol sosam ve kol simcha kol chosam ve kala b'meir b'meinu amen. Now I'm going to sing this song. Hashem will give me the koiches if I sing it right. I'm not a singer. I'm just singing a song in the words that they wrote. So take the papers. The niggun I want to sing is Atate Bistu. You know the little song? Atate Bistu. You know that song? I'm going to sing Be'ez Hashem these words. And if I make a mistake, everybody's going to sing with me and help me, right? I can't do it myself. I'm just doing it because these 2 Nashim Tzidkonias, they care for Klal Yisrael. It was 40 days before I came into human form, when heaven spoke the name again. The name eludes me, a mystery to me, though not to him who joins souls and also splits the sea. I have faith in Hashem, who knows what I don't, who knows who I will marry, who knows who I won't. He hasn't left my side. He guides me with care. Dating woes Shidduch crisis, Hashem is always here. I am in His holy hands, a place I feel His love, and I also trust these hands to steer me from above. The going's rough at times, still I won't give up. I'll daven until He fills my cup. I pray it spills with blessings, a partner who'll help me grow, children who'll serve Hashem, and a warm and a happy home. I know that time will come when Hashem will say it's ripe for answers, for blessings, for meeting just my type. How's it go again, weiter? Not to start again. How's the finish? You know, that was the end part. Go. Carmen, how's it going? No? Coming from the darkness, the light will be immense. The glow of Chosin Kala and our family and friends. I'll thank Him and I'll praise Him, the one who made it happen, who joined two souls, two beings, whose hearts He wholly gladdened. In the meantime, here I am, hoping, waiting, and praying. I'm where I'm meant to be. I'm with you, He is saying. I sim Torah mazel tov. Yeh lanu l'chol Yisrael amen. Sim Torah mazel tov. Yeh lanu l'chol Yisrael amen. Sim Torah mazel tov. Yeh lanu l'chol Yisrael amen. Sim Torah mazel tov. Yeh lanu l'chol Yisrael amen. May Hashem help everybody to find the Shidduchim Horav. All have the real simcha. Odi Sham Baridu B'chutz Yerushalayim Kol Sas Kol Simcha Meir Amen. Amen v'Amen.
Shem Irgun Shiurai. I'd like to give a big extra koyach to Rabbi Elozer for the inspiring Joshua. To have the great chus of sponsoring a shir, call Irgun Shiurai 718-851-8651 or email ist@yeshivanet.com. The full schedule of the summer is available here on the front table. Chananya Menahel Shem Boruch L'Zachas is Yisrael V'Yir Hibel Torah Mitzvah Shenem Adonai Chofetz Aman Tzidka Yagdol Torah Yader.